Hello everyone, my name is Vanessa and the name of my channel is called Gnostic Knowledge, and what I am doing on this channel is reading from a book, and the name of that book is called Letters and Numbers, written by Zachary K. Hubbard. And I am here to finish chapter 22, the last chapter of the book, and it is entitled The Organic Side of Letters, Numbers, and Numerology. This book is written by Zachary K. Hubbard. Letters and Numbers is about gematria. Gematria is the encoding of numbers within our letters and words. Every word we speak has a numerical value, and the more you delve into what gematria is, the more clear you will understand how manufactured our reality is when it comes to history, when it comes to sports, when it comes to anything that's given to us via the media of any kind, radio, TV, movies, sports, the news especially. It is all one big web of lies, pretty much, orchestrated by an alpha-numeric code known as gematria. You can get a copy of this book, Letters and Numbers, by visiting Zachary K. Hubbard's YouTube channels, Gematria Affect News and Gematria Affect Sports. And in the description of each of the videos that he does, he leaves a link for you to purchase the book. The price is $5, the best $5 you'll ever spend in your life. This book will come to you via email as a PDF file. And so be sure you save the file to the hard drive of your phone, your laptop, tablet, computer, whatever device you're going to use to access the book, so you'll have it always. And also, he left the copyright off this book so that you can have it bound into a book for your own personal library. And the book has over 700 pages, so you can email it to your local bindery or take it there via a flash drive or whatever device, your phone or whatever, wherever you've saved it, the file to. And you can take it to your local bindery, or you can upload it to lulu.com or what have you, but you can have it bound into a book. That's why he left the copyright off this book. And he's made this book so reasonably cheap so that everyone can afford it. And this book, I'm telling you, it has information in it that you won't get anywhere else. Zachary K. Hubbard broke the code of how this world is operating, and it is by an alphanumeric code known as gematria. So order the book. You can print the book out if you want, create your own book, but just learn this information. See what has truly been taking place as far as what man is doing. These are some wicked, wicked people. Zachary K. Hubbard wrote a second book, and the name of that book is called Number Games, from 9/11 to Coronavirus. And every pertinent news story that has taken place, all the events of this year, is in this book. And it gives you information on, from 1968 on. All of our history, it has been orchestrated via gematria. This book, of course, it is, a physical book. You will get this in the mail. And this is the young man that wrote the book, Zachary K. Hubbard. And this book is available right now on Amazon as a pre-order, and it will be shipped to you, or I know it will be released on October 13th. If you don't want to buy the book from Amazon, you can also get the book directly from Zachary K. Hubbard at his blog page, gematriaaffectnews.blogspot.com. The first thing you'll see when you get to the page is the advertising for this book. And as you scroll down, it gives you the instructions on how to purchase the book within the United States and abroad. And so be sure to get the book. This information is just, man, it's mind-blowing, and it is eye-opening. He has a second blog page, his first blog page, where he had been blogging for over 5 years. It is called it's called freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. And he has a massive amount of content that he has posted. And I encourage you to read his blogs. familiarize yourself with gematria, but read the book Letters and Numbers. He spoon feeds the information to you on how gematria works. Once you learn it, you will not unsee it again, because the powers that shouldn't be, they operate by this code, and they have been using it for hundreds and hundreds of years, even before this country was established. And that's what really just sticks in my mind, like, oh my word, well, what is really going on? But that's pretty much what I'm going to say. Just find out what gematria is. I've been reading so far from chapter 1 up to the last chapter, which is chapter 22, and I'm doing it for people who don't really care for reading, and I'm hoping that maybe some people just like to listen to an audio version of something as opposed to reading it, or for people who have to work a lot. This is my way of trying to share this information, and I believe every human being on this earth that is not a part of the cabal, they need to wake up to what is truly being taken place. So, and with that said, I am going to begin reading, and I am on page 754. In the beginning I thought it was only 733 pages in this book, but that could have been the first edition of the book. But this is the second edition. So, but it has 754 pages, and I am almost done. I mean, it has 774 pages. I'm at page 754. And the title of this chapter is chapter 22, The Organic Side of Letters, Numbers, and Numerology. And here we go. The purpose of this chapter is to enlighten you to the organic side of the letters and numbers code, which I have come to understand most certainly does exist. If you visit your neighborhood library, if you're lucky enough to live in a neighborhood that still has a library, which you really can't visit now due to the COVID-19, or you have to make sure you have a mask on. Oh my God. All right. If you're lucky enough to live in a neighborhood that still has a library, you will likely be able to find a title that teaches you about numerology and how our birthdays and our names are predictive of the things that will come into our lives, including the relationships we will have, from those with our family to those with friends and significant others. Once upon a time, I was looking at such a book and questioning if this really could be true. After pondering the idea, I decided to put the information to the test, beginning with my father, my mother, and myself. As the book instructed, I was to decode our names using the cipher that we have come to know as the reduction gematria, also called Pythagorean gematria, which incorporates the rules of numerology, compressing each letter into a single-digit numerical value. So I did. Okay, so the rules of numerology, compressing each letter to a single digit numerical value, okay, which he did. All right, so my father's name is Timothy Stephen Hubbard. So Timothy Stephen Hubbard equates to 89 in reduction. My mother's name is Donna Jean Hubbard. Donna Jean Hubbard equates to 62 in reduction. My name is Zachary Keefe Hubbard. And Zachary Keefe, Keefe, Hubbard, equates to 89 in reduction. As you can see, my father and I have matching gematria, and I promise you that wasn't planned. Even as I write this book today, my parents aren't too sure about this whole gematria thing. As for my mother's name, it connects to my father's name, as well as my own through numerology. When the number 62 is reduced, it sums to 8, same as 89. Okay, 62 is 6 plus 2 is 8. 89 is 8 plus 9 is 17. And 17 is 1 plus 7 equates to 8. I should also note that my father and I were both born in Portland, Oregon, known as Rip City, R-I-P, Rip City. Rip City equates to 89 in reverse ordinal. The next step was to compare the birthdays, so I did just that. My father was born April 18, 1953. And when you add 4 plus 1 plus 8 plus 1 plus 9 plus 5 plus 3, that equates to 31. 3 plus 1 is 4. My mother was born September 8, 1952. So you would add 9 plus 8 plus 1 plus 9 plus 5 plus 2. That equates to 34. 3 plus 4 is 7. Notice my mother's birthday, September 8th, can be written as 89, like 89. And I was born July 21st, 1983, and you would add 7 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 3. That equates to 31. 3 plus 1 is 4. My birthday is on the 202nd day of the year, and my mother's maiden name, Donna Jean Halverson, equates to 202 in ordinal gematria. That is something, Zach. As observed, my father and I have matching birth numerology, breaking down to 31 and 4. It is interesting to note that the number 31 is the 11th prime number, and the number 89 is the 11th Fibonacci number. While my mother's birth numerology is different, breaking down to 34 and 7, think about what we have learned regarding the natural relationship of numbers 4 and 7. It is also fascinating that her birthday is September 8th, a date that is expressed as 89, most commonly in the world, similar to 89, the number that connects my father and I. Making matters even more interesting, their offspring, yours truly, was born on the date with the coldest recorded temperature in the history of measured temperatures, still to this day, which is negative 89 degrees Celsius on July 21st, 1983. And here is that headline that I will show you. And it's telling you about that date of the coldest day of his birthday that he was born on. That was his birthday. So, a subsequent measurement of negative 88.3 degrees Celsius on August 24th, 1960, held the record until a temperature of negative 89.2 degrees Celsius was measured at the Soviet Vostok Station on the Antarctic Plateau on July 21st, 1983. Alrighty. As mentioned, the number 89 is the 11th Fibonacci number. The next in the Fibonacci sequence is 144. I bring up this point because my father's birthday, April 18th, to my mother's birthday, September 8th, is a span of 144 days. Again, it is believed that the Fibonacci numbers are the numbers of God, and it is believed by numerologists as well as Kabbalists that by understanding the language of numbers, we can better understand God's plan and our place within this world. With that said, consider that I have brought something into this world that could be described as a greater understanding of the importance of numbers and how they're being used by others, especially those who are referred to as elites. with this chapter, I also want to bring greater understanding of why we should learn to pay attention to these numbers, because they truly can provide greater insight into our own lives. For example, the word number carries a reverse ordinal gematria of 89, and in light of the fact that my father and I both have a love for numbers, and in light of what my legacy now is, this is a hard fact to overlook. So the word number equals 89 in reverse ordinal. Making matters even more interesting, my father's birthday is the 108th day of the year, April 18th. As we learned, this is a number symbolizing geometry in ordinal and reverse ordinal gematria, and having a major relationship with the measurements of the sun, earth, and moon. Consider my mother's birthday. September 8th is the 251st day of the year, which is the 54th prime number, where 54 corresponds with the ordinal gematria of sun, as well as the ordinal and reverse ordinal gematria of love. And likely not by coincidence, the two women I've had the longest romantic relationships with have named gematria of 54. Adding to the organic pattern, my father's full name, Timothy Stephen Hubbard, has an Adding to the organic pattern, my father's full name, Timothy Stephen Hubbard, has an ordinal value of 251, corresponding with September 8th. And if you're not aware, it is stated that September 8th is the birthday of the Virgin Mary, said to be the mother of Jesus Christ, who some contend is the sun in the sky, as opposed to the S-O-N, the sun. Timothy Stephen Hubbard equates to 251 in ordinal. Following the theme of mathematics, from my father's birthday to my birthday, April 18th to July 21st, is 94 days later. And from my birthday to my mother's birthday, July 21st to September 8th, is 49 days later. This is fascinating because the name I have most commonly been called throughout my life is Zach Hubbard, having ordinal gematria of 94 and a reduction gematria of 49. Plus, as we have also covered, mathematics has a reduction value of 49 when S is counted for 10. So, I will just show you these decodes really quickly here before I start to read about them. Trying to be as steady as possible. But anywho, so Zach Hubbard equates to 94 in the ordinal cipher. Zach Hubbard equates to 49 in reduction. Mathematics equates to 49 reduction, S counted as 10. My father was born in the 4th month and my mother was born in the 9th month. The name Zach Hubbard is also 11 letters and 2 words. 1 plus 1 equates to 2. Wow. Mathematics equates to 112. Wow, this is something that's fascinating. In light of the connection of 49, I have a life lesson number of 49, and my father has a life lesson number of 40, where mathematics equates to 40 with regular reduction gematria. The calculations of our life lesson numbers are as follows. The date 7/21/1983, you would add 7 plus 21 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 3, that equates to 49. And then the birthday 4/18/1953, you would add 4 plus 18 plus 1 plus 9 plus 5 plus 3, that equates to 40. Make no mistake about it, It was my father who helped me build an early appreciation for mathematics as well as spelling. He used to love to test me. I remember a proud moment when my father told me we would be moving to Washington. I was 6 years old then, just learning to read and write, and he asked me if I could spell the state name, which I replied yes, and in a few moments I had spoken the letters out loud, in the correct order, bringing a smile to my father's face. Fittingly, I would move to Washington just after my 7th birthday. My father also taught me to love the San Francisco 49ers, his favorite football team. Go figure. And speaking of the organic side of the code, I should note that the first 49ers game I went to in San Francisco was October 10th, 2010, which was against the Philadelphia Eagles, the city named from Revelation, the concluding book of the Bible. The reason that's interesting is because of the following. Revelation equates to 10:10 in Jewish gematria, and the date he went to the football game was 10:10. Oh my gosh, that is something. Revelation equates to 49 in reduction. Eagles equates to 49 in ordinal. Eagles versus 49ers. NFL equates to 49 reverse ordinal. What are the odds? Making matters even more interesting, October 10th is the day leaving 82 days left in the year, and it was my 82nd day of being 27 years old. As we learned, the football is the shape of the Vesica Piscis, the most sacred shape from sacred geometry, and Vesica Piscis equates to 82, as does my name, Zachary. Vesica Piscis equates to 82 in reverse reduction. Zachary equates to 82 in ordinal. Did I mention I can throw a mean spiral? Athletics aside, I remember that day like it was yesterday. It was full of memories with friends, positive interactions with strangers, warm weather, good food, and lots of laughs. Even though San Francisco wasn't my native city, I told my friends who I was visiting that I had never felt more at home. Perhaps it has something to do with the fact that San Francisco equates to 202 in reverse ordinal, and I was born on the 202nd day of the year. San Francisco equates to 202 in reverse ordinal. Coming back to Revelation for a moment, the 22nd chapter and concluding book of the Bible, I want to examine a verse that has inspired me in recent years and reminded me to persevere, which is something I have had to do a lot of in this world, especially lately. So, Revelation 21:7, King James Version. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. Notice the verse number 21:7 is similar to my birthday, July 21st, or 21:7. As covered, the name Zach Hubbard and the word revelation share reduction gematria of 49. Making matters even more interesting, the name my mother most commonly calls me by when she is angry is Zachary Hubbard, which sums to 66 in reduction, similar to how Revelation is the 66th book of the Bible. And Zachary Hubbard equates to 66 in reduction. As a reminder, if you write out 66 as a word, it sums to 49 in reverse reduction and 149 in ordinal, similar to how Revelation sums to 49 in reduction and 149 in reverse ordinal. Further, if you write out my name as Zachary K. Hubbard in ordinal, it also sums to 149. For the record, that is how I have always written my name on resumes and professional documents. Anyhow, this number 149 recently made me marvel, and it came after a period of perseverance. That was because on May 22nd, 2017, my home was finally repaired after being horribly damaged 149 days earlier, December 24th, 2016, Christmas Eve. I was so amazed to find this synchronicity when it happened. But Zachry K. Hubbard equates to 149 in ordinal. 149 is the 35th prime. Zachry equates to 35 in reverse reduction. To fill you in on that story, I was threatened for doing this work that I do with my life. Okay? Let me reread that. To fill you in on that story, I was threatened for doing this work that I do with my life. To keep it brief, I was told to watch my back on Christmas Eve 2016. While I made it through that day just fine, my home did not. Sadly, it was struck by an SUV, knocking the home off its foundation on two walls and putting a giant hole on the side of the structure. To my surprise, it took my insurance company many months to reach an agreement to pay for the majority of the damages. In the end, I had to pay a portion as well, and it took the better part of a year for the repairs to finally be completed, which was not a fun experience since I was dealing with death threats and living in a home with a hole in it, only covered by plywood. What else is remarkable about the date the repairs were finished is May 22nd is the day, leaving 223 days left in the year. In the case of Revelation, it is authored by St. John the Divine, equating to 223 in reverse ordinal. St. John the Divine, 223 reverse ordinal. I should note that I was 33 years old when the car crashed into my home, and it happened precisely 156 days after my birthday. And as we have learned, when you write out 33 as a word, it equates to 156 in ordinal. You could also say it happened after I had been 33 years old for 22 weeks and 3 days. Not too far off from 223. My goodness. Further, the report that was constructed by the police was completed on December 26, 2016 at 12:33 a.m., the 33rd minute of the day. Even better, the ranking officer approved it at 1:59 a.m., the 119th minute of the day. Recall, police sums to 233. Police sums 233 in reduction, and fraternal order of police equates to 119 in the same method. You'll notice the investigating officer was Zachry. I cannot pronounce that. Salagis, I don't know. Sorry, but his name summing to 49 in reduction gematria and 129 in ordinal, identical to Revelation in the two methods. At the same time, the approving officer, C. Rogers, has a name equating to 49 in reduction when S is counted for 10. Making matters even more interesting, the Masonic Lodge across the street from their police station is Ashlar Lodge number 121 in Bothell, Washington. If you want to take it a step further, Ashlar, A-S-H-L-E-R, Ashlar Lodge, sums to 52 in reduction gematria, and my home was crashed into on a date with numerology of 52. And I will show you the report, and you get a look at what the report is. Hopefully I can, okay, maybe put it there. Maybe you can take a screenshot and examine it a little bit. because I don't know. The writing is so small you probably can't see it, but the information that he was talking about, it is listed on here, like C. Rogers and M. Salagi, or however you say his name. Very odd name. All right. The date was 12/24/16. You would add 12 plus 24 plus 16. That equates to 52. Ashlar Lodge equates to 52 in reduction. Wow. As for the date the report was constructed, December 26, 2016, and first signed off at the 33rd minute, it was a date with numerology of 74. You know how those two numbers are much like peas in a pod. And on the subject, I should mention I was born in Oregon, the 33rd state, and the only with the ordinal gematria of 74. Further, I was visiting my family in Oregon when the accident occurred and when police alerted me. And that was 12/26. 2016, and you add 12 plus 26 plus 20 plus 16, that equates to 74. Speaking of this same home that was damaged in the Christmas Eve wreck and the organic side of the code, you'll have to take my word on this, but I promise it is true. It is a large rectangle, a ranch, and it is exactly 74 feet long. Wow. Okay, speaking of this same home that was damaged in the Christmas Eve wreck and the organic side of the code, you'll have to take my word on this, but I promise it is true. It is a large rectangle, a ranch, and it is exactly 74 feet long. This is funny because it is located in Bothell, Washington, a city name summing to 74 in ordinal, and it is the home where I discovered gematria, also summing to 74 in ordinal, the same as English as we learn. For yet another 74, I sold this home on December 15, 2017, to move to a new location so that my girlfriend could be closer to where she will, so that my girlfriend can be closer to where she will be attending graduate school. From the day of selling the home in Bothell to the date of the foundation being installed in the new home, February 26, 2018, was a span of 74 days. And for the record, the foundation being installed was way behind schedule, but then again, by knowing the code, seemingly right on schedule. For another fun fact, I received the keys to the home in Bothell, the first home I ever purchased, Friday, January 13, 2012. As covered earlier, Friday the 13th, written as words, has an ordinal value of 223. What else is fascinating is the word home, using English extended cipher, equates to 113, similar to January 13th. This is crazy. And that was his move-in date. Okay. Home equates to 113, English extended, January 13th, or 113, 1/13 is the move-in date. Another thing that amazes me is that from the date I moved into the home in Bothell to the date I began my gematria blog, Free to Find Truth, that eventually led to a YouTube channel, Zachry K. Hubbard, then radio show Gematria Effect and Truth Frequency Radio, and now this book, Letters and Numbers, was exactly a span of 93 weeks. As we know, that number symbolizes the distance from the sun to the earth in millions of miles. It is also the number symbolizing Saturn, the keeper of time. Making matters even more interesting, the date I began the blog, October 24th, 2013, or October 24th, when written out, sums to 93 in reduction gematria, the first cipher I learned. October 24th equates to 93 in reduction. On the subject of time, October 24th, 2013 is a date having numerology of 74. 10 plus 23 plus 14 equates to 47. The number corresponding with the ordinal value of time. You could also say that the date was you could also say that date was the foundation of this ongoing research. Another word, computing to 47. Further, it was the day leaving 68 days left in the year, connecting to the ordinal value of planet and reduction gematria of Zachry K. Hubbard. And no, I did not plan or coordinate any of this. It is just the way it worked out, which I only realized long after. In fact, when I began the blog, I had very little understanding of this knowledge and was only beginning to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Still months from being aware of the greater relevance of Saturn and its spiritual and worldly significance. And in case you're asking, but what does moving into your house have to do with starting your blog? The answer is everything. Life is a chain of events, and each event has an impact on what comes next. Had I not moved from downtown Seattle to the suburbs of Bothell, my life would not have taken on the path that it did. The move distanced me from my friends and the buzz of the city, so I was spending fewer nights out and more nights in, reading, thinking, contemplating, reflecting, and focusing on activities that led me to the place it did. Also important is that I suffered a serious injury to my right shoulder in July of 2013 while playing softball, which kept me from being as physically active as I had been prior, and in turn caused me to find new things to do with my time, such as conduct the research that led me to discovering the relevance of gematria. And to go back even further than that, had I not been born to the parents I was, the date I was, in the location I was, in the era I was, and had the life experiences I had, of course the chain of events that are my life would have unfolded differently, with this book likely not being part of that chain or my discoveries in gematria. Coming back to receiving the keys to my house on January 13, 2012, and then learning gematria shortly after turning 30 years old, there are a few things that stand out about these facts. As we learned earlier, the number 113 is the 30th prime. In regards to 30, it is a number connecting to gematria, to the gematria of Saturn, as well as Bible. And as we've covered, there are a number of parallels to the Bible and Saturn, and not by chance. Just before discovering gematria, I had been reading the Bible for the first time in a long time, being raised a Lutheran before losing my faith entirely in the days of confirmation class. If you have ever had to go through such a thing as confirmation class, you might be able to relate. For me, typical days at Beautiful Savior confirmation classes were as such. I don't understand how Noah would lure that many animals onto his boat, feed them, maintain cleanliness, and keep them from eating each other for so many days. Confirmation teacher lady. Unfriendly stare. Or how Jonah could live in a confirmation teacher lady. Go wait in the hall, Mr. Hubbard. That's funny. Noah's Ark, 33. Jonah equates to 33. Reverse reduction, H equals 10. Fish equates to 33. Reduction, S counted as 10. Bible equals 33. Reverse reduction. Believe equals 33. Reverse reduction. The word with lie right in the middle. Yeah. Anyhow, while reading the Bible as a 30-year-old and not considering that Jesus Christ began his ministry at age 30, I was observing the use of the numbers in it, which I knew must have greater meaning. Why would the Bible be so specific about certain numbers if there wasn't some greater significance? Absolutely. Better yet, why would the fourth book of the Bible be titled Numbers without a reason? Absolutely. It was through asking these questions that led me to finding gematria, and seemingly just in time to help me maintain my personal sanity. It truly has been an outlet to find this knowledge, learn to understand it, and teach it to others. And thank you, Zach, because I'm so glad I know this information. You could say that for me, it has been a lifesaver. It has also filled me with hope and purpose, and I hope it does the exact same thing for you and many others. And it will. As for how the Bible came back into my hands, it was due to a certain woman who I had met just months before on July 4th, 2013. She was the one bright spot in my life at that moment where I was feeling very isolated from friends and family due to speaking out about the ongoing injustices in our society. And it wasn't so much that this woman cared about the injustices as much as she supported me speaking out about them. This woman and I hit it off in a hurry, seemingly on all the same pages except with regards to spirituality. While I described myself as a spiritual person and a follower of the Golden Rule, she was a Christian, and she expressed that it would mean a great deal to her if I allowed the Bible back into my life. So largely for her, I began reading it, like I said, for the first time in a long time, nearly 20 years. Being honest, however, I did tell her that I wouldn't make any promises on converting back to the faith, and the prospect of such a conversation was rather unlikely and still hasn't happened to this date. So the date 7/4/2013, you would add 7 plus 4 plus 20 plus 13, that equals 44. Spiritual equals 44. Faith equals 44. Well, spiritual 44 in reduction, and faith is 44 in ordinal. What's fascinating is that from the date we met to the date I began the blog was 112 days later. Mathematics equates to 112 in ordinal, or a span of 113. 113, the 30th prime. Salvation equates to 113 in ordinal. Truth equates to 113 in Francis Bacon. Golden Rule equates to 113 in ordinal. Considering the Bible is a book of mathematics for those seeking salvation, and with relations to Saturn, the synchronicity of those numbers should stand out. And considering my blog is titled Free to Find Truth, another clear parallel is evident. What's also interesting is that by becoming aware of this knowledge of gematria and showing the same woman who has been my girlfriend ever since how the Bible is encoded as it is, it has moved her from a Christian to being a spiritual person, just the same as myself. And by being a spiritual person, I mean operating within the rules of right and wrong, treating others as you would want to be treated, and not judging others for their beliefs, while maintaining faith in God. Ultimately, her and I were both able to agree that if the knowledge of the Bible is encoded with all of this information that dates back to well before the time of the text, and is information not even shared or known amongst the followers of the Christian faith, then surely something is hidden, and there is a reason for that. That reason we have come we have decided is because there is something greater that the Christian is meant to be kept from. And whoever would desire to hide this knowledge about God and this world we share, whether that be a person or a faith, is surely not the ultimate source of truth, and therefore should not be blindly followed. I am grateful we have been able to come to this agreement, and again, that agreement has come through this knowledge. Continuing with the numerical synchronicities, I want to get back to my earliest days as a boy, starting with my birth. I was born in Portland, Oregon, at Good Samaritan Hospital, July 21st, 1983, at 7:19 p.m. local, or 1919 in military time. Following the theme of 19, it is the count of the letters in my name. Zachary, 7 letters. Keefe, Keefe, 5 letters. Hubbard, 7 letters. Man. And for a couple more, my mother's name, Donna Hubbard, has a reverse reduction gematria of 67, whereas my father, Timothy Hubbard, has a reduction value of 67, which is the 19th prime number. If you want to take it a step further, the 19 is the 8th prime number. Please recall the common numerology from the reduction gematria of each of our names, which was 8, as covered at the beginning of the chapter. Absolutely. Okay. At the same time, Zachry has a septenary value of 19. Okay. Well, at the same time, the name Zachry has a septenary value of 19, and the name Zachary Keefe Hubbard has a Chaldean value of 67. So, as he has his name here, Zachary Keefe Hubbard equates to 67 in the Chaldean cipher. Zachary equates to 19 in the septenary cipher. 67 is the 19th prime. In light of the 19 Fest, something neat I should mention is how the word 19 factors into the numerology of my date of birth as well. So 19 equates to 130 reverse ordinal and 7/21/1983. When you add 7 plus 21 plus 19 plus 83, that equates to 130. Wow. Also fascinating to me is that my best friend through my teenage years and early 20s and who I attended college with out of state and roomed with the entire time was Adam, a name summing to 19 in ordinal. Consider him and I traveled to Arizona together for university. The state abbreviated AZ, short for sort of like A for Adam and Z for Zach. People called us the brothers from A to Z. For another fun point, those were the days of AOL, and screen names where Adam's name was Acehole8, Acehole, the number 8, because he loved to golf, and on one sunny day he earned himself a very rare hole-in-one, of course, on hole number 8. Coincidence? Doubtful. Another thing I find intriguing that I wish I knew once upon a time is the name Katie has a reduction value of 19. I used to wonder what it was about the name Katie, because young ladies with that name used to flock to me. Long story short, I've made a lot of good memories with some young and pretty Katies. I'll never forget the first time I tried online dating. When I opened my electronic message box for the first time, a handful of women had messaged me, but all but one having the name Katie. I asked then, what is going on? It took about 10 more years to find the answer, which I am still unraveling. On the subject of finding the answer, women, and the organic side of the matrix, I should mention that before I met the beautiful woman I have a very good relationship with now, I had been dating, and 2 of those women I dated were named Trish and Maddie, who I had seen who I had each seen a number of times and shared a number of drinks, laughs, and fun nights with. What's strange is that on April 7th, 2014, after working with this code not quite a year, I received a text message from one of these two women at nearly the same moment on the same day after having not talked to either of them in at least a year. I knew them before I knew what gematria was. Consider the date April 7th can be expressed as 47 or 74, a lot like the numbers 47 and 74. What matters will become clear as we decode their names using ordinal gematria. The name Trish equates to 74 in ordinal. The name Maddie equates to 47 in ordinal. We were all living on the 47th parallel north in the Seattle area. Bonus fact: when I first moved to Seattle, I lived at apartment 211 Valley Street, where the number 211 is the 47th prime number and Seattle is on the 47th parallel north. Further, my apartment number was 6, similar to how my house number in Bothell was also 6. Just a single digit, as rare as that is. Keep in mind that Saturn is the 6th planet from the sun, the keeper of time. My goodness. Back on the subject of Trish and Maddie, after first decoding their names in light of the timing April 7th, I was absolutely astonished at seeing the results. At the moment, I interpreted this as a welcome sign from God or the universe, or however you want to put it, that I had been a gentleman to each of them, and that is why they were reaching out to me nearly a year later to say hello. And regarding God, this date had come 260 days after my 30th birthday, 26. I should note, it was also 15 weeks before my upcoming birthday, where the number 47 is the 15th prime. It was in these moments that I was thinking about what I had read in the numerology book about the numbers of our lives, what we inherit at birth, staying with us and guiding us, similar to the beliefs about our birth and the stars and planets above at the time of our entrance into the world. Astrology. Speaking of astrology, which goes hand in hand with the study of gematria, the synchronicity in time with Trish and Maddie, if I pronounce the sounds of their initials, make T, T-U-H, M, M, like together they sound like time. Okay, Tom. Okay, gotcha. And, I will... Let me highlight that so you can see and maybe get a better understanding what he's saying here. Okay. So you can kind of make out the sounds and what he's talking about. So I will start that over. So, speaking of astrology, which goes hand in hand with the study of gematria, the synchronicity in time, in the word time, with Trish and Maddie. If you pronounce the sounds of their initials, pronounce the sounds their initials make, T for T, M for together they sound like time. Okay? So, what he's saying, and that was in parentheses. So, the synchronicity in time with Trish and Maddie came on my research blog's 166th day of existence. In light of it being the 166th day and my overall relationship with the number 67, let us examine the gematria of solar system, which is what encompasses all of the knowledge of astrology. So, solar system equates to 166 in ordinal. Solar system equates to 67 in reduction. S counted as 10. Solar system equates to 68, reverse reduction. Planet equals 68 in ordinal. Regarding the reverse reduction value of 68, the blog was established October 24th, the day leaving 68 days left in the year. As a reminder, we learned October 24th has a gematria connection of 93, like Saturn, and the distance in millions of miles from the Earth to the Sun, the heart of the solar system. Ahead, I will talk about how the number 93 factored into my location of birth in light of the numerology inspired thought, being these numbers are seemingly invisible guides to our life and the memorable important events within it, which are largely determined at the moment of our birth through our names, the date, the location, and what was taking place in the stars above at the time. Before we get there, I want to talk a bit more about 67, the number we learned about in Chapter 7, studying Hermeticism, which sums to 67 in reverse reduction, the same as alchemy in ordinal and revelation in the reduction when V is counted for 22. Recall the relationship regarding the 7 Hermetic principles and the 7 seals of revelation. For another 67, it was the numerology of the start date of my blog, 10/24/2013, which equates to 67 when you add 10 plus 24 plus 20 plus 13 together, which began while studying these occult sciences of the past. To add a few more relevant words having gematria of 67, I want to examine the following. Work equates to 67 in ordinal. Busy equates to 67 in ordinal. Soul equates to 67 in ordinal. Help equates to 67 in reverse ordinal. Organic equates to 67 in ordinal. While the critic of my work would argue that there are many words with an ordinal value of 67, including killer and satanic, I know that I am not either of those things, but what I have been for my entire life is a very hard worker and someone who has cared about their soul and doing what is right when given the opportunity, such as helping others, which is an opportunity given to all of us at least once a day. In terms of hard work, this study has kept me busy since I began in 2013, and I have worked at furthering this study and sharing it with the world for practically each day since I became privy to it. I have done this because I know we are living at a critical moment in history, and people deserve to be enlightened to what is taking place, including all the things I have educated and shared about in the prior chapters. Thus, I am doing my part to help humanity, which was the thought I began with, knowing that if I don't do my part now, I might not have an opportunity later. Case in point, as I am publishing this book, my content is being censored from Google at a rate that would even make George Orwell blink. So is the work of others. Worse yet, politicians are offering ideas to make it illegal to speak against the transgressions of the government as exposed in the pages of this book, referring to it as hate speech. Continuing with the list of words above, I am now amazed to look at the organic side of this code and how things have transpired since embracing this knowledge and feeling as though everything has happened when it was supposed to happen. In Hermeticism, synchronicity is understood as confirmation that you are doing the right thing, that you are finding the answers you have sought out looking for. Knowing what I know now and observing what I have, it is hard to deny such wisdom or say that it isn't what is taking place. For another of many examples of how synchronicity has entered my life since beginning this research, it was March 13th, 2017, 235 days after turning 33 years old, where I connected the fact that each leg of the Freemason compasses are 23.5 degrees off center. The Earth's tropics are at 23.5 degrees, and the tilt of the Earth is said to be at 23.5 degrees off center, and further, that May 23rd or 23/5 was the 143rd day of the year in typical Gregorian years, where Scottish writer Freemasonry has reverse reduction gematria of 143 and circle sums to 143 in Hebrew. It was discoveries such as these which helped increase the clarity of the research and explain the riddles such as why Federal Reserve sums to 143 in ordinal and 235 in reverse ordinal gematria. Funny enough, when I began my blog in 2013, a big focus was on the Federal Reserve and how money is used to enslave we the people, we the taxpayers, keeping us running in circles like mice on wheels, only for the benefit of a very greedy group of tyrants. And to sum up the point I am trying to make, it is that because I have been true to myself and continued on this mission with purpose and great effort, I believe that God has rewarded me by revealing what is now revealed, which I am forever grateful. The word true equates to 19. 67 is the 19th prime. Now to get back to the point about my birth and the number 93, we have to go back to Portland, Oregon, July 21st, 1983, 19:19 p.m. local at Good Samaritan Hospital, when and where I came to be my own independent breathing body, free of my mother's womb. It was in this building, summing to 93 in reduction, and in this state, having a birthday of February 14, 1859, a date having numerology of 93. So, Good Samaritan Hospital equated to 93 in reduction. February 14, 1859, the establishment date of Good Samaritan Hospital, you would add 2 plus 14 plus 18 plus 59 equates to 93. Adding significance to the relevance of the number of 93 in Oregon is the fact that Nike, summing to 93 in ordinal, which uses a ring of Saturn for its symbol, is headquartered in this same state. Better yet, Nike was co-founded by Phil Knight, who was also born in Portland, Oregon as well, and who has a surname summing to 93 in reverse ordinal. So the word Knight, K-N-I-G-H-T, equates to 93. The date 12/14/1859, you add 2 plus 14 plus 1 plus 8 plus 5 plus 9, that equates to 39, and Nike equates to 39 in ordinal. I must admit, while connecting the numerology of the date of establishment of Oregon and the gematria of the name of the hospital in which I was born to my own life seems I must admit, while connecting the numerology of the date of establishment of Oregon and the gematria of the name of the hospital in which I was born to my own life seems on the cusp of arbitrary. I cannot deny how this number has woven its way into my life in the most meaningful of ways, and by showing this relationship it only proves it was there from the beginning. Consider further the abbreviated name for the hospital I was born in, Good Sam, Psalms 274 in ordinal, just the same as Oregon, and we have learned how these numbers 93 and 74 are spiritually connected through Jesus Christ, who was crucified at age 33, corresponding with Oregon being the 33rd state, and Sam having an ordinal value of 33, as well as the word Samaritan having a reduction value of 33. Think about this in light of the fact that I was threatened on Christmas Eve as a 33-year-old, the eve of the celebration of Jesus. Good Samaritan equates to 137 in ordinal. 137 is the 33rd prime number. Sam equates to 33 in ordinal. To take that thought a step further, Christmas Eve was my 157th day of being 33 years old, which is the 37th prime number. In reduction gematria, Zachry, Psalms 237, same as Portland, where I was when the wreck happened, my city of birth. Making matters all the more interesting, Jesus Christ, or they have it in Jewish letters, it's Psalms 237 in Hebrew ordinal gematria. So I can show you that what he how he has it. Oh, hang on. So that would be the Hebrew name for Jesus. Alrighty. Okay, Psalms 237 in Jesus Christ, or the Hebrew word Jesus Christ, Psalms 237 in Hebrew ordinal gematria. Consider that in light of Jesus' birthday being celebrated on December 25th, or 12 plus 25, 12 plus 25 equates to 37, and where December Psalms to 37 in reduction gematria. At the same time, Yeshua, Yeshua, another appropriate name for Jesus, has a Frank Baconis value of 157. And for the record, Zachary is a Hebrew name meaning in remembrance of God. And for that, and for another relevant point, my entire life, people have called me Joshua by accident. Even people who've known me, who have known my name for years. Funny enough, Joshua Psalms to 74 in ordinal, which is the English translation of the name Jesus. And that is funny. When I saw Zach a couple of weekends ago in Spokane, one of the ladies that drove over to Spokane, Debbie and Paula had, I think this was her first time meeting Zach, so she knew him. His name was Zach, but the minute she saw him, she called him Joshua. Oh my God, we laughed. And Zach was saying, see, I'm telling you, it happens all the time. And I witnessed it. I was like, oh my God. And she kept calling him Joshua. And she kept saying, God, why am I calling you Josh? And that was just funny. But man, there is something, man. That is funny, but yeah. I witnessed that of the Paula calling him Joshua. So that was funny. So, but like it says, funny enough, Joshua Psalms to 74 in ordinal, which is the English translation of the name Jesus. Good Samaritan equates to 56 in reduction. Hubbard equates to 56 in ordinal. On the subject of where I was born, Good Samaritan Hospital, my father, who is not a man of faith but a good man, taught me to live by the golden rule and to be a good Samaritan when given the opportunity. I don't think he taught me that because I was born at a hospital named after the parable in Luke, but because that is what he was taught through living in this world. If you do the right thing, you will be rewarded, or at least be able to sleep at night. Let us now examine the story of the Good Samaritan from the Gospel, noticing it ends with Luke 10:37. In light of the ordinal gematria of Good Samaritan summing to 137, that verse number should stand out for multiple reasons. So let us now read the parable of the Good Samaritan, Luke 10, 25 through 37. Okay. On one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. Teacher, he asked, what must I do to inherit eternal life? What is written in the law? He replied. How do you read it? He answered, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. You have answered correctly, Jesus replied. Do this and you will live. But he wanted to justify himself, to ask Jesus, and who is my neighbor? In reply, Jesus said, a man is going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have. Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers? The expert in the law replied, the one who had mercy on him. Jesus told him, go and do likewise. Okay. I should remind, I was raised a Lutheran by my mother, and as a youngster I strived to be like Jesus, doing what was right and helping others. Along the way I learned the meaning of the phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. With that phrase in mind, and in light of the story of the Good Samaritan who was good to his neighbor, I'll never forget the day I was arrested, March 7 or 3/7 in the year 2015. It was my first and only time being arrested, and it was due to my neighbor, a person who had been good, who I had been good to. I'm sorry. It was my first and only time being arrested, and it was due to my neighbor, a person who I had been good to by helping out financially the prior October. In that month, my roof began to leak, and knowing that he was a roofer who was out of work, I reached out to him and asked if he could help. If I could help him by paying him to repair the leak. He said he was willing to, after offering a very expensive bid, thousands more than the quote I had prior, which I let him know I thought was too expensive, but I said I would do it anyway to help him out. When I gave him a down payment in cash, I'll never forget the way his eyes lit up, and he immediately remarked that I shouldn't keep cash in the house because it would be stolen. Oh, Lord. In response to him, I told him I keep it hidden, and there was nothing flashy around to draw the eyes of a thief. Days later, after coming home, my door was kicked open, my house was turned upside down, and everything of value was stolen, including my stash of cash, which had been found. Consider, I had been living in the house with the money and without incident until he became aware of what was there. Further, I noticed after the burglary that my neighbor also was gone, which was abnormal, as he was someone who was typically around the house. Not by coincidence, he stayed gone for a week after the burglary before returning. Oh, this is crazy. Um, when he returned, I asked him if he could bring back what was left of what he had stolen, and I would not report him to the police for doing so. I let him know it was clear who had been through my house, and he let me know there was nothing I could do about it. Man. Wow. Anyway, the next thing I knew, police were knocking on my door, letting me know my neighbor had filed a restraining order against me. After going to court and having a judge uphold the restraining order, my neighbor went out and purchased the exact same vehicle as me, make and model and color. He then began teasing me by honking the horn of his new vehicle, the same as mine, and waving at me as he drove by, sometimes even flipping the bird. And here all I had ever done for this man was have him and his wife over for dinner multiple times, help him out in his yard, and most recently pay him more than the market value to repair my roof. Worst of all, he was 30 years older than me, and someone who in my judgment was old enough to know better. And with that, I'm going to end the reading in this chapter, but I will continue probably tomorrow because I am tired now. But thank you for listening, and I'm almost nearing the conclusion of the book of Letters and Numbers, and I hope that you will get this book and read it from chapter 1 all the way to the end cover, because this information is fascinating. And like I said, I'm not telling you what to believe in. You know, I know there's an organic side. I believe in the Most High, and I do identify as Hebrew. And I'm not going to tell somebody what's not going on in their lives, but I do know that this code that has been hijacked by man, the powers that be, it is having an effect on the lives of everybody on this earth unnaturally. And that's why we need to wake as many people up to what gematria is, and how it is being used as a weapon, as a divisive tool. And it has been being used way before this country was established, and it is still being used today. So thanks for listening. I hope you'll give the video a like and a share so that someone else can find this work as well. Thank you.